welcome to this little tutorial on Jenkins pipelines. I'm gonna start it by obviously running Jenkins on my machine. For this, I'm just going into the directory where my Jenkins is downloaded into, and then just run java -jar jenkins.war command, and this should start our Jenkins. What we want to see here in the output is Jenkins is fully up and running. Before that, nothing's going to happen for you. So here we go. Here is this magical line. And after this moment, we can access our Jenkins at the local host. Just going to go and type it into the browser. Okay, this is our Jenkins welcome screen, and it wants us to log in. As we didn't set up any account, the initial user and password are going to be used. So to get the password, I'm just going to go into the Jenkins directory, and under secrets, there is a file called initial admin password. You just go ahead and open it in the editor, and you can copy paste that into the password field. Here we go. After this, we are gonna be able to see the Jenkins dashboard. Here we go. Here are our builds in the system. Later for you, there are also gonna be some builds which we're gonna be able to see, but we're gonna start with configuring Jenkins. Basically what we want to do before we're running this pipeline I'm wanting to show you is we're gonna show Jenkins in the global configuration, global tool configuration. We're gonna show it where to find specific tools it's gonna need. First one is Git, of course. We need to show Jenkins the home folder for Git executable file. So you just go ahead and type git exe in there and paste your path to this file down here into the path to Git executable. And the second thing we want to show Jenkins is Maven installations. Basically, we want it to be done automatically. That's why we're just going to type in M3 here in the name folder, and we're going to check this box which says automatically install, and we're going to be happy with that for now. Just going to click save and go on to create our first pipeline. For that, we need to choose in the menu here on the left, we need to choose the new element, and yeah, we can directly type in the name for our new pipeline. I'm gonna choose ePortfolio. That's what we're doing here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and choose a pipeline. Be sure that at this moment the Blue Ocean plugin is installed, because it pre-installs the pipeline plugin as well. You can also do that without Blue Ocean, but then install the pipeline plugin. Otherwise, of course, you're not going to be able to create a pipeline. All right, we're going to go ahead and press OK, and what we see next is this screen where we can put in all the details for our new pipeline. Can put in a description. There are some simple options over here. I'm gonna go ahead and click this one, which helps me to keep my folder for this pipeline a bit lighter. I'm just gonna set the amount of builds saved to 5. You don't have to do that, but that makes it a bit lighter. Especially if it's just a tryout project like this one. And of course, you can also set a various amount of triggers to build your project. It can be anything. It can be built during the night, for example. Then you would choose this option and set it to be built at 12 or whatever every day. You can also set a hook from GitHub so that every time you commit to your repository, the build is going to start. but we're just going to go ahead and skip it, and for now we're going to start our builds manually. And yeah, where we want to go is the pipeline script, and here I'm just going to copy the script which I also linked in the forum. This gist, you can go ahead and find it in the forum, or just type gist.github.com and find Denny SE there. And here's the Jenkins file. We just want to copy that all and paste it into our script screen. Here we go. So we're just gonna go over a bit real short. All of your script is supposed to be inside of one node. Node is basically a word space for your pipeline, and inside of this node you can define different stages. All those stages are something which you define for yourself so that you can see the categorization of the steps, that it's more visual, which steps you're running in your pipeline. Here we've made 3 different stages. It's preparation, build, and results. And inside of each stage there are a number of steps. So in our preparation step we want to go to this repository. We're just saying git and giving the link to the repository we want to clone while running this pipeline. And we've also defined a variable in here, Maven home, because we want to work with a specific directory of Maven installed on the machine. And here it says tool m3. Remember, that's the name we've given in before. We gave it to Jenkins, so now it can recognize the home path, and that's what it's going to do in the next stage, in the stage build. It is going to check out which machine we're running it on, if it's a Unix or a Windows machine. So if it is Unix, then we obviously can run a shell script, but for Windows we choose a bat, which means we're just running a batch script. And what it does, basically the green and the red text does pretty much the same. It goes to our Maven home from the settings we've been doing earlier, and it starts Maven from there and basically cleans and packages and ignores the test failures. Alright, and after this is done, it is going to go ahead and save our test results into an XML file, and it's going to archive our software. So for now we're happy with that. We're just going to go ahead and click save. And here we go. Our pipeline has been created now, and just like I said earlier, we can start it manually. Here on the left in the menu screen we can press build, and we're gonna see our first build running out here. What you wanna do is check out the console output. There you can see what is happening with your build at the moment. You just need to click over here on your build and go to the console output, and here you are able to see all the steps we've went through all over again, but in action. So here's the node we created, here's the stage preparation, and Jenkins went ahead to the repository and did whatever we asked it to. And here is our next stage, the build stage, where it ran a batch script because it realized that I'm running it on the Windows machine, and it ran the command we gave it. So there are some tests we're going to look at in a moment, and you can see that the build was successful and it saved the test results. So let's go ahead and check those. All right, so to make our test results a bit more exciting and what we see there in the statistics, I just went ahead and made a couple more builds for this project. You can see I'm at number 6 right now, and if you remember, we set the amount of builds saved in the machine to 5 max. That is why my build number 1 was thrown away, and you can see it here. If you don't want this to happen, then just don't set this number of max saved builds. You can see some statistics here about the length of the build and how it develops. So here is an interesting statistic page you can visit, but what we're interested in right now is this page, the pipeline page, and here we can see the artifacts which have been packaged in our pipeline. You can see the recent changes to the pipeline, which we're not going to see because we didn't change anything. But right now I wanted to show you the tests. What our project that we just built a couple of times did is it just basically ran a couple of tests which randomly either succeed or fail, and some of them are getting skipped as well. So here you can see after a couple of runs that you've made, you can see the trend, how many tests have failed in each and every build. So this is the view that Jenkins gives us. You can also see the last test result, and you could just go ahead and check out which tests were skipped, which tests were successful. It's not very pretty, but yeah, it just gives you basically the overview over your test results. And this is also one of the parts which we want to compare with the Blue Ocean plugin. That is why we're just gonna go ahead and open the Blue Ocean view. All you need to do if the Blue Ocean plugin is already installed is to press this button, which appears automatically in the Jenkins toolbar, and you're gonna see the Blue Ocean view. You can also do that by typing in blue up here in the browser, and that's gonna redirect you to the beautiful plugin view. And here you can automatically see all the pipelines, all the builds that you have already in Jenkins, so it just takes it over. And if we take a look at our pipeline, this is how Blue Ocean visualizes it. You have all those builds which are saved in the machine. And here with the status symbol, with the length of the build and the time it has been made. So we're just gonna choose one of the builds, and here we can see that Blue Ocean visualizes all of our stages, the ones we've created before: preparation, build, and results. It's all here, and it is shown pretty well which stages built. So for example, if the stage would fail, that would be another symbol indicating that. And also what we've seen before in the console output, which was pretty packed together and was hard to tell what's what, which step is which. It was like you just needed to scroll through the whole thing. Here you can see it nicely ordered by steps, which we did. So the Git step is right here, and we use the tool pretty fine. There is no output for this one though, but you can still see that that's what you did. And you can choose from one stage to another, check all of those sections. So it's pretty nicely visualized for you. And you can also see the changes in the builds, just like I said, in this dashboard from your pipeline before in Jenkins. This is visualized in here as well, but we don't have any changes. What we have though is a number of tests which are visualized very nicely in here as well. You can see that in the last build the one we're having right here, all the tests were successful, so there is not that much to show. What is more interesting is the one where our builds failed. So here you can see a nice statistic, how many errors were thrown and how many tests were successful, and you can see the errors thrown by Java. So yeah, that basically gives you a bit of a better, nicer, prettier overview over your tests. The artifact page is still there. You can see your jar file, which we packaged, and you can see a pipeline log as well, and you can download both. So this is basically what Blue Ocean does with your projects which you've already created on Jenkins. But you can, of course, create your own one. And for that, you would want to go ahead to the pipelines and choose the new pipeline option. And it's going to ask you if you want to choose from the Git or GitHub, which one are you using for your project. I'm going to go with GitHub. And it's gonna, if you're using it for the first time, it's gonna ask you for the access token. You just go ahead and follow the instruction and create one and give it to Blue Ocean. Then you can choose your organization or basically your account, and you can choose to create a new pipeline. Here it lists the repositories I have, which still don't have a Jenkins file. And what I did for this is I just forked this project, which we accessed from our script. And now I have it on my repository. I can choose it from here and create a pipeline for it. So it takes a bit of time till it's created. And it checks, basically in this time, it checks for the Jenkins files in the repository. It checks if we already have a pipeline created. And it sees here that there is none, so we can create a new pipeline. And this is something which is still kind of missing in Blue Ocean. You don't have this option for the pipelines that you've created already. You can't just edit them nicely in this beautiful visualize editor. You need to create a new one to do this. And what you can see here is that by pressing on those plus signs, you can create the stages. So the first one we had was preparation. Just gonna type it in here, and here's my first step. I can create a build here. Each stage needs steps to be accepted, and as we remember, our first step was Git, so we could just go and choose from the list and give the repository in here and just create our pipeline. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this repository and paste it down here. And in this way, you can create the exact copy of something you did before. I would recommend you to go through those steps and try and recreate the same pipeline done with a script before with this little gist. Try to recreate it in this visualized pipeline builder and see if it works for you, so if you like it, just like a little exercise. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to contact me. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I wish you a nice time.